Today we're going to talk about aliens. We will try to understand this phenomenon, facts and theories about them. Here we go. In popular culture, the term UFO or unidentified flying object refers to a suspected alien spacecraft, although its definition encompasses any explained aerial phenomenon. UFO sightings have been reported throughout recorded history and in various parts of the world, raising questions about life on other planets and whether extraterrestrials, what the heck are these, have visited Earth. They became a major subject of interest and the inspiration behind numerous films and books following the development of rocketry after World War II. Okay, flying saucers. The first well-known UFO sighting occurred in 1947. When businessman Kenneth Arnold claimed to see a group of 9 high-speed objects. Oh my god, 9? Like after 2 years of World War II. After the ending of World War II. Okay. Claimed to see a group of 9 high-speed objects near Mount Rainier in Washington while flying a small plane. Interesting. Arnold estimated the speed of the crescent-shaped objects as several thousand miles per hour and said they moved like saucers skipping on water. Yeah, it should be so fucking fast. In the newspaper report that followed, it was mistakenly stated that the objects were saucer-shaped, hence the term flying saucer. Okay, the Roswell UFO incident. I guess it's related with the Roosevelt presidential times. The same year that Arnold saw the flying objects, rancher W. McBrazel came across a mysterious 200-yard-long wreckage near an Army airfield in Roseville, New Mexico. Oh, sorry, it's related with the area of New Mexico. Local papers reported it was the remains of a flying saucer. The U.S. military issued a statement saying that it was just a weather balloon, though the newspaper photograph suggested otherwise. Okay, the flames of conspiracy were further fanned in the 1950s when dummies with latex skin and aluminum bones that looked eerily like aliens fell from the sky across New Mexico and were hurriedly picked up by military vehicles. Maybe it was just the immigrant who was wearing alien's costume. Okay, to those who believed in the early Roosevelt sightings, this seemed like a government cover-up. For the Air Force, these dummy drops were a way to test new ways for pilots to survive falls. Interesting. Like some shit was dropping from the air and the militaries grabbing this. Interesting. 50 years later, the military issued a subsequent statement admitting that the Roosevelt wreckage was part of Project Mogul, a top secret atomic espionage project. Wow, it's getting crazy. Did you know in the Soviet Union, sightings of UFOs were often prompted by tests of sacred military rockets? In the Soviet Union, sightings of UFOs were often prompted by tests of sacred military rockets? Like they wanted to rocket aliens or what? Okay, Project Blue Book. Sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena increased, and in 1948 the US Air Force began an investigation of these reports called Project Sign. Cold War tension was mounting, and the initial opinion of those involved with the project was that the UFOs were most likely sophisticated Soviet aircraft, although some researchers suggested that they might be spacecraft from other worlds. The so-called extraterrestrial hypothesis. Yeah, like imagine a situation when one country want to make send some agents espionage to other countries, and for confuse their enemies, they just wearing they making this kind of spacecrafts with the aliens shapes, with the UFO shapes, with some aliens, It's gonna be international trolling, Instead of thinking that it comes from your enemy, you're gonna investigate this shit like some alien stuff, Who knows? Within a year, Project Sign was succeeded by Project Grudge, which in 1952 was itself replaced by the longest-lived of the official inquiries into UFOs, Project Blue Book, headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. From 1952 to 1969, Project Blue Book compiled reports of more than 12,000 sightings or events, each of which was ultimately classified as one identified with a known astronomical, atmospheric, or artificial human-caused phenomenon, or two unidentified. The latter category, approximately 6% of the total, included cases for which there was insufficient information to make an identification with a known phenomenon. So, the Robertson Panel and the Condon Report. An American obsession with the UFO phenomenon was underway. In the hot summer of 1952, a provocative series of radar and visual sightings occurred near National Airport in Washington, D.C. Although these events was attributed to temperature inversions in the air over the city, not everyone was convinced by this explanation. Meanwhile, the number of UFO reports had climbed to a record high. Okay. We see that there was some shit in this airport, and around that situation was controversies like Some people that it was some alien stuff. Other people was thinking that it's just because of uh, weather conditions. Okay. This led to the Central Intelligence Agency to prompt the US government to establish an expert panel of scientists to investigate the phenomena. The panel was headed by H.P. Robertson, a physicist at the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, California, and included other physicists and an astronomer and a rocket engineer. The Robertson panel met for 3 days in 1953 and interviewed military officers and the head of Project Blue Book. They also reviewed films and photographs of UFOs. Wow, just even at that time, they was doing that things. Just imagine what's happening now in 2022. What kind of sacred information they have, which simple people don't know. Okay, their conclusions were that not 90% of the sightings could be easily attributed to astronomical and meteorological phenomena, e.g., bright planets and stars, meteors, auroras, ion clouds, or to such earthly objects as aircraft, balloons, birds, and searchlights. There was no obvious security threat, and there was no evidence to support the ETH. Parts of the panel's report were kept classified and until 1979, and this long period of secrecy helped fuel suspicions of a government cover-up. Okay. A second committee was set up in 1966 at the request of the Air Force to review the most interesting material gathered by Project Blue Book. 2 years later, this committee, which made a detailed study of 59 UFO sightings, released its results as a scientific study of unidentified flying objects, also known as the Condon Report, named for Edward Q. Condon, the physicist who headed the investigation. The Condon Report was reviewed by a special committee of the National Academy of Sciences. A total of 37 scientists wrote chapters or parts of chapters for the report, which covered investigations of the 59 UFO sightings in details. Just imagine, many people even don't give a fuck what's going on. They just thinking it exists or not. But militaries in America, they already know everything. They have facts. They have bunch of details which they don't want to share with others. It's interesting and terrifying at the same time. The Robertson panel, the committee concluded that there was no evidence of anything other than commonplace phenomena in the reports, and that UFOs did not warrant further investigations. These, together with a decline in sighting activity, led to the dismantling of Project Blue Book in 1969. We see the interesting topic, Area 51. yeah. I heard a lot of stuff about that. Like at this like that at this area, uh, everything's like covered. Like at this area, they learning, especially aliens, and if you just a local person who living at this state, you're not allowed to cross this area. It's just a bunch of militaries and scientists who learning that, and it's like high level security place. Okay, let's read about this place. In the 1950s and 60s, multiple UFO sightings were reported around Area 51 in Nevada, a site used variously by the CIA, U.S. Air Force, and Lockheed Martin to test flights of experimental aircraft or black aircraft. Yeah, even with the name of these agencies, you can see the level of the security. CIA, U.S. Air Force, like the best of the best agencies pay attention to this area, and they spending time and money for learning this stuff, aliens. Their classified documents show Area 51 was home to a Cold War program called Oxcart, dedicated to creating a spy plane that would be undetectable in the air and could be used to get information behind the Iron Curtain. The resulting SR-71 Blackbird F-117 Nighthawk and Archangel 12 or A-12 traveled at speeds upwards of 2,000 miles an hour. These mysterious planes helped fuel rumors that Area 51 was used to conduct experiments on extraterrestrial life and their spacecraft. Okay, other investigations of UFOs. Despite the failure of the ETH to make headway with the expert committees, a few scientists and engineers, most notably G. Allen Hynek, an astronomer at Northwestern University in Evanston, who had been involved with Project Sign, Garage, and Blue Book, concluded that a small fraction of the most reliable UFO reports gave definite indications for the presence of extraterrestrial visitors. Hynek founded the Center for UFO Studies, CUFOS, which continues to investigate the phenomenon. Aside from Project Blue Book, the only other official and fairly complete records of UFO sightings were kept in Canada, where they were transferred in 1968 from the Canadian Department of National Defence to the Canadian National Research Council. The Canadian records comprised about 750 sightings. Less complete records have been maintained in the United Kingdom, Sweden, Denmark, Australia, and Greece. In the United States, UFOs and the Mutual UFO Network in Bellevue, Color continue to log sightings reported by the public. Okay. In the Soviet Union, sightings of UFOs were often prompted by tests of sacred military rockets in order to obscure the true nature of the tests. The government sometimes encouraged the public's belief that these rockets might be extraterrestrial craft, but eventually decided that their descriptions themselves might give away too much information. UFO sightings in China have been similarly provoked by military activity that is unknown to the public. Yeah, in China, uh, even if China knows something, it's small dictatorship country. It's a way close-minded country, and yeah, it's hard to get some information from them. Possible explanations for UFO sightings and alien abductions. UFO reports have varied widely in reliability as judged by the number of witnesses, whether the witnesses were independent of each other, the observing conditions, e.g., fog, haze type of illumination, and the direction of sighting. Typically, witnesses who take the trouble to report a sighting consider the object to be extraterrestrial, original, or possibly a military craft, by certainly under intelligent control. This inference is usually based on what is perceived as formation flying by sets of objects, unnatural, often sudden motions, of the lack of sound, changes in brightness or color, and strange shapes. What else we have? That the unaided the eye plays tricks well known. A bright light such as the planet Venus often appears to move. Astronomical objects can also be disconcerting to drivers as they seem to follow the car. Visual impressions of distance and the speed of UFOs are also highly unreliable because they're based on an assumed size and are often made against a blank sky with no background objects, like clouds, mountains, etc., to set a maximum distance. Reflections from windows and eyeglasses produce superimposed views, and complex optical systems such as camera lenses can turn point sources of light into apparently saucer-shaped phenomena. Such optical illusions and physiological desire to interpret fucking images are known to account for many visual UFO reports, and at least some sightings are known to be hoaxes. Radar sightings, while in certain respects more reliable, fail to discriminate between artificial objects and meteor trails, ionized gas, rain, or thermal discontinuities in the atmosphere. Contact events such as abduction are often associated with UFOs because they are ascribed to extraterrestrial visitors. However, the credibility of the ETH as an explanation for abductions is disputed by most physiologists who have investigated this phenomenon. They suggest that a common experience known as sleep paralysis, I think, may be the culprit, as this causes sleepers to experience a temporary immobility and believe that they are being watched. Okay, this information, what I found about history of aliens, and it's a really, interesting topic. And even just imagine if you saw aliens, they are spacecraft at the sky, and if you will speak about that to your friend, they're gonna think that you're getting crazy or something, because it's such a unusual phenomenon for people, And I heard that I was listening another Joe Rogan podcast, and there was some filmmaker, I forget his name. He was saying that he was investigating this topic about aliens, and some pilots who doing their job, they were saying their experience with aliens, that sometimes you can see them at the sky with your eyes, but their radars couldn't catch, okay. And sometimes it's opposite, when the pilots couldn't see aliens, but their radars could see. And it has a special term, some complicated term, I forget. And they should be so fast, I guess. They have better technology which we don't know, and the government, as we see, don't want to share information what they have, because I guess they also still learning this topic. They learning, and at the same time they want to get this technology first before their enemies, for be at the higher level. Because just imagine you're working in a government, and you're able to learn this kind of technology, which is way better, faster, and of course you're gonna hide this technology because you don't want to give that kind of technology to your enemy. And it's kind of makes sense. Thank you for listening, and if this kind of topic interesting for you, let me know. Like this video, subscribe my channel, share your thoughts on comments below.